I wanted to talk to you about Area 51 because
I got interested in snails.
yeah, I know this is close to your heart as well, isn't it?
I like Area
So
51.
think about this, Kev. If the US government is not hiding something in the Nevada desert, why could entering it cost you your life? Think about that. In the Nevada desert, you can view this on Google Maps. It
Yeah.
shows roads and creeks and mountains and bunkers and buildings and a massive, it's a 9.5 kilometer runway across an area probably the size of Switzerland. um, Public access is forbidden. Use of deadly force is authorized. Remember this, there's signs everywhere, all the way around Area 51.
Yeah.
Um, its airspace is, in fact, you know what? I wonder, are they still using Area 51 in the same way they did back back in the day? Because you're
No.
talking nearly 70 years ago now when it was founded. It was founded in 1954. The Lockheed Aircraft Corporation founded it so that they could develop spy planes for the CIA. Um,
And I think
but
Roswell was 1947, was it?
yes, yeah. The stealth bomber was tested along with other unconventional aircraft at Area 51. And, people have always said that across that area they've seen UFOs and stuff. But it's been shrouded in secrecy with the US Air Force. They only admitted its existence in 1994. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They're like, oh, yeah, that place. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It does exist now.
Oh, I didn't. I thought it was like we've always known about it. It's just always been there. We've.
No.
Mind you, that
But
was about that. I think the 90s, early 90s was when I really got into this sort of stuff. But that's when the
yeah.
X-Files came out. So
Yes.
it gained
Yeah.
popularity.
Well, I mean, Area 51, it represented like the cutting edge of US military technology. But what they say is that it's not American technology, is it? It is from outer space. That's
Yeah.
what they say.
The reverse engineering alien technology.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing that I have the thing with now, I'm like, is Area 51? It's all like that as a distraction because the real stuff they're doing might be Area 52, but you're all looking at Area 51.
I wonder if
Uh,
anyone's ever thought about
Things I've heard about Area 51 is where they took the Roswell crashed alien ship there,
that.
and obviously did the alien autopsies there. But it's also the place where they reckon that they filmed the fake moon landing stuff.
Yeah.
If you're into
Yeah.
that conspiracy,
George, yeah. I mean, we'll have to talk about that at one point.
well, yeah, I
I've
mean,
got.
I heard that they got Stanley Kubrick to go to Area 51 to actually film the moon landings, but he decided that, you know what, he's a perfectionist. He thought it's better to actually go to the actual location to film the moon landing.
Well, the thing about the moon landings, I heard a theory which I thought this kind of makes more sense actually, was that they they did go to the moon, but they also did some filming here on Earth just so that images and in case they couldn't get any images from the moon.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I've heard that one as well. Photography work in that environment being blasted by radiation, and the fact that if you're in a pressure suit, you can't hold a camera up or anything like that.
yeah. But with Area 51, obviously, like people have seen strange objects in the sky above it, and of course the authorities denied all of these claims. But one of their own guys alleged that not only were there UFOs in Area 51, but the US Air Force were actually working with aliens as well and alien technology. So Bob, you heard of Bob?
Bob Lazar.
Oh yeah, he was a contract scientist who worked on the base for like 5 months. It was from December 1988, and he broke the news on television in May 1989.
Yeah.
in shadow under the alias Dennis. He could have picked a better name than that. And his voice was electronically distorted as well. But he revealed that the government was investigating 9 flying saucers and was trying to adapt alien technology to its, to its own ends. And following that interview, he even though he was even though he was not identified, he got death threats and his car was shot at. I mean, was that the government? He described the top secret S4 site on Area 51 next to it's called Papoose Lake, and an underground complex which occupied a whole mountain range. So apparently in Area 51 they've got an underground complex and they've got loads of different sites, and that means big enough to have all of this there. But yeah, he was employed in a team of engineers to figure out how alien aircraft's propulsion systems operated. And this, I mean, see, all of this is kind of like, well, if there were aliens and there was crashed alien aircraft, then makes sense, wouldn't it? We would pick it up and we would check it out and try and replicate it. Maybe we have replicated it if it's true.
I mean, I've read a lot about Bob Lazar and a lot of his stuff. He was basically saying that they basically needed they'd got the propulsion system, but they needed the particle that would power it. They were trying to develop what particle they'd be able to use, and it's some kind of anti-gravity technology that they'd had there. But yeah, he described different ways of entry systems and how they got in with you had palm prints and stuff like that, and he described the ways you'd go in, and then later on someone else has come out and described exactly the same as what he'd described, or photos that come out. He said, yes, that's what I've been describing. And they tried to say he never worked here, but then they found his name in an internal directory that had got leaked. So they tried to deny he'd even worked there, but they could prove that he'd worked there. And then they tried to debunk his education by saying he was never at this university or anything like that. So, and then they tried to discredit him by saying he got involved with prostitution rings and things.
Yeah.
So you can start seeing they're trying to discredit him to make him like, you're never going to believe this guy. Not many will believe this guy. I believe him.
Well, I mean, he was making money from it. I mean, that's the only thing that kind of, or at least trying to make money from it, and that is the only thing that makes you think, somebody's trying to make. But you would anyway, wouldn't you? Like if you'd worked on some secret government. Well, I mean, first of all, wouldn't you be arrested if you've worked on a secret government project and then you talk about it like a year later? Wouldn't you just be arrested, chucked in prison for I don't know, under the Secrets Act or something?
But you're kind of then you're confirming that this guy's telling the actual truth. So it's better to discredit the person and ignore him as a fruitcake and build him out to be like that, so that people won't believe it. It's like, I always remember the Roswell incident. I was well into that through the 90s. And I was excited. It was coming up to like the 50-year kind of when I have to release the records, because it's got to that point where you need to know what actually happened there. And around that time, they released, oh my God, there's this video of an alien autopsy. And it was a black and white film of them doing the autopsy at Area 51 on this alien thing. I don't know if you ever remember watching it. And it kind of looked realistic. But then they debunked the video by saying, oh, you can see a bloke's wearing a digital watch there. Oh, and if you look there, you can see that. And they released it on video. You could actually buy it. And then what that's gone, when they started to debunk it by seeing the obvious noise, there's a digital watch there and stuff like that. Oh, and that sort of film wasn't available in the date that would have been done. And there's a timestamp there that is obviously little things like that. And then it made people think, oh, the whole thing's just a made up fake, and everyone forgot about Roswell.
Yeah.
I think that was designed to now, I mean, no one talks about Roswell anymore, do they?
No.
Really,
It
That's
comes
sort of
around
like,
every
oh,
so
that
often.
film was bunk. It was a debunked thing. It was rubbish.
Yeah, it comes around every so often, doesn't it? Well, I mean, like you said, that Bob Lazar he apparently lied about having master degrees, and yes, he was convicted of involvement in running a brothel.
Yeah, a prostitution thing. Yeah, and I'm like,
I mean, that doesn't mean he's a liar, really. I'm not really sure how involved he was in running a brothel, but
yeah, and then it was something about he's got in trouble for shipping some kind of restricted chemicals and stuff like that.
uh,
But there's a documentary on him, I think it's on Netflix, where he's basically constantly getting like the FBI and people like that at his address doing search warrants and stuff on him and
yeah,
continually like making his
yeah,
life difficult.
and that makes me more suspicious as well. But
Yeah,
like, I mean, he said that he wanted to tell everyone because the secrecy around it was an insult to science and U.S. citizens.
yeah.
Um, However, we're talking about him making money. He made loads of money from his drawings of the alien aircraft because he merchandised it. Um, had a bit of merch going on. He also sold the rights for a movie based on the story as well, so he made a bit of money from that. But none of this is proof that he's a liar. I
No,
mean, you
you'd want to
probably
make some money, wouldn't
well,
you?
yeah, you got to keep living, haven't you? So, so the only proven liar in this whole scenario really is the U.S. government because they denied that Area 51 even existed in the first place. They also denied that Lazar, like you said, worked at the Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico on the Star Wars Strategic Defense Initiative. But like you said, his name was on the internal phone directory. But the government never denied that he worked at Area 51, and his tax return for that year confirmed that he did. So there's definite truths there.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
what you want to look at when you get a chance after this is go onto YouTube, look up. I think he's called Believing Bruce, and he looks at body language, like when they can tell. So he analyzes different people having interviews, and he
yeah,
does one on Bob Lazar, and he's basically says that the triggers are you can tell if someone's lying, when someone's recording actual stuff that they've seen. And he picks up the subliminal stuff that you do with your body language. Like, for
yeah,
example, apparently, if you're recording something that you've actually seen, you have a tendency to look up. Your eyes will sort of look up as if you're like thinking back
yeah.
to
Imagining it.
remember it.
Yeah,
And he's gone through all of that, picked up all the different like baseline body language stuff. And he said his verdict at the end of that is he says, hey, this guy's telling the truth. He says this guy's not coming across as someone that is a liar.
mm,
So that's interesting to look at that video. So if you
yeah.
have any doubts about, I believe him.
Well, I don't not believe him.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I don't think he's lying, and it's the clincher for me is the fact that they denied that he was working there, but
yeah,
then they find out when his name was actually appearing in here, and it's a pretty unusual name.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, there have been other witnesses as well, and in 1995, a German film company released a video called "Secrets of the Black World," which supplied more evidence to support his story. And it had like several witnesses whose testimonies show that something was going on in Area 51. In 1996, this is what you're talking about, right? I was trying to remember because when you said Bruce, uh, that kind of rung a bell. So Bruce Burgess directed a documentary called Dreamland, which included an interview with a 71-year-old mechanical engineer who claimed to be a former employee of at Area 51 during the 50s. And his claims included that he worked on a flying disc simulator
Mm.
used to train pilots, which was based on a disc originating from a crashed extraterrestrial craft, which could have been the Roswell crash wreckage. And he also claimed that he actually worked with an ET that was named J Rod, and he described this alien as a telepathic translator. And then in 2004, a guy called Dan Crane. In fact, he had I think he had like a pseudonym which was Dan Barish or something. And he claimed that he worked on cloning alien viruses at Area 51. That kind of links in with what we've just gone through in the last 2 years. But also alongside the alien named J Rod. So this is another guy that's saying that he worked with an alien. Who is this J Rod?
In relation to J Lo or something like
that. Yeah. But since then, there's been 144 sightings of unidentified. I'm on about since 2004. There's been 144 sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena by U.S. Navy pilots, and then they released a lot of that information recently, didn't they?
Yeah, that's some good footage of like literally like what the hell is that? And you see this thing in their obviously they're filming it from their cockpit and they're seeing this thing flying really fast and then shooting off.
Yeah, but also in January the 28th, 2019. So we're getting even closer to current times now. An unidentified man drove through a security checkpoint near Mercury in Nevada. It was just an apparent attempt to enter the base, and after an 8-mile vehicle pursuit by base security, the man got out of his car carrying a cylindrical object and was shot dead by the security officers, kaboom, and sheriff's deputies after refusing to obey the requests to halt. No other injuries were reported. But then in July 2019, so like 6 months later, more than 2 million people responded to a joke proposal to storm Area 51. Did you hear about this?
I've heard about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this appeared on an anonymous Facebook post, and the event was scheduled for the 20th of September 2019, and it was billed as Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us, right?
Yeah.
So 2 music festivals were organized in Nevada called Alien Shock and Storm Area 51 Base Camp, they were called. And up to 3,000 people attended, so not quite 2 million.
Yeah, they might gun down 3,000 people. Maybe 1 million they wouldn't.
Well, this is funny, right? Because 3,000 people attended the festivals because obviously it was a music festival. Why wouldn't you go? While over 150 people made the journey from the festivals to Area 51, only 7 people were arrested.
What?
Out of 150 people, apparently the festivals were quite a distance from Area 51. So 150 of them are like, yeah, let's go and do it, man.
We're ready to do it.
Let's know that you are. Yeah. And then most of them gave up. It was too far away, but 7 of them did make it and got arrested.
That was. Imagine that if it had 1 million people, they wouldn't have been able to do much. Would have locked down, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna all the buildings where if there's anything classified, they'll just get underground locked down, and no one's getting anywhere.
Yeah, but there are at least 8 black programs flying out of Area 51. There's like ultra secret government projects such as like stealth bomber and drones, which speed and like maneuverability can easily look like like a UFO, an alien UFO anyway.
Oh god, I imagine that the military technology is way in advance of what we've got. We get like the stuff they've been developed years ago, and it's slow technology or technology trickling out slowly. So I've got a drone. I've got like the DJI Mavic Air 2. And to me, that's fast and really speedy with excellent cameras and things. You imagine what military have got.
Yeah, it would be bigger, better, faster.
You probably maybe you don't even see them. That's the thing. Maybe they're nanotechnology that they've got.
But what is it they use in like war zones, like the Predator drone and things like that? Nobody ever sees that, do they? They just kind of look down, select the target they want to hit.
I thought you said they're sending in the Predators.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an alien life form that can camouflage itself, but its only flaw is it can only see heat. I'm here! Come on up here! What are
Come
you
on,
waiting for? I'm over here!
you in now?
So yeah, I personally think Area 51 is a top secret military installation where they develop. I think they're reverse engineering alien tech, because the other thing is that since the Roswell crash, it all stems from there. And why I believe the Roswell crash is they released all this stuff. So we found an alien crash ship, and then someone's had a word with them. And they've gone, no, no, actually, it's how bad. It was just a weather balloon.
Yeah.
You made that mistake, did you? So then I think they've obviously gone there. Then since that date, you've had the revolution of like the microchip and all sorts of stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
Silicon Valley. I mean, how did they think of all of that sort of stuff from like there?
Well, there's a guy called Ben Rich, right, and he's a former president of Lockheed Advanced Development, and he confirmed that he's a firm believer in UFOs, but he actually um but no, he doesn't say anything about Area 51 and that. But I mean, that tells you everything, doesn't it? If you've got a Lockheed Advanced Development president who believes in UFOs, well, that just says it all for me.
I mean, it's a bit of a believing in UFOs. That's I believe there's unidentified flying objects.
Oh
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
more the because there
and
are.
yeah,
If I see something I can't identify, it's unidentified flying objects.
you're
That might
right, you're
just be a
right.
plane. But I think UFO has become linked to aliens. So I think when we
Yeah,
talk about UFOs, we're talking about alien.
yeah, I think you're right. It needs to be a lot more clear. Like, if you're talking about UFOs, are you talking about alien UFOs, or are you just talking about UFOs that could possibly be government aircraft that they're testing?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
believe they're probably testing the latest government military tech. Then, yeah, then that's probably that I believe that they fly stuff like that around.
yeah,
I believe
and
they probably developed a gravity drive somewhere as well.
yeah, they must have by now.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of people on the other side of it, a lot of people would say that, well, UFOs, as in alien UFOs, are just government orchestrated disinformation, and it's just designed to cover up what is really going on. But what is really going on? That is the question.
Well, you see, I believe in like your alien and the alien tech Area 51. I have a trouble believing a lot of the alien abduction stories, for example. I'd have to look into that a little bit more because
Yeah,
you're relying on one person saying, yeah, I saw all of this, I saw that, and this happened. And there's enough material out there now that it's a mythology. You know the usual flying saucer, a bright light, grey aliens, and on a table being operated on. That thing's in like your psychology now, isn't it? In every
yeah,
culture, we know that. So it's easy for you just to make out you're either having some kind of a something going on in your head, or you're making it up to make yourself feel special as you're one of them. Or
yeah,
I don't know. There's a few famous cases about that, like the fire in the sky one. I think his name was
yeah,
Travis or something.
yeah. We've mentioned this before when we're talking about movies and stuff that we've
Yeah,
watched in the past.
and there's always enough stuff there for you to start being able to doubt the person that's telling you. Like
Yeah,
he had a contract to do some work that he was never able to fulfill. So without fine, if he didn't fulfill it, he'd get fined. So in order to get out of it, he's made up he got abducted. But then that's a bit crazy to say you got abducted by aliens. Surely you would have said I got abducted by a bunch of like rednecks or something that took me out and held me out captive there. It wasn't my fault.
yeah, tortured. You could make up all kinds of stuff, can't you?
Yeah, or I had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah. But then people do mad things. That guy who supposedly died out at sea in his canoe.
What was
They
that
do all
one?
kinds of stuff just so they can claim a little bit of money or get out of something.
Yeah, it's hard when you're. I mean, I'm not saying they're liars, a lot of them, but I don't know. I'd need to see a little bit more. There's never another witness with them that can back
Yeah,
them up, or it's too. Why are they doing that, or why are they choosing some random like that?
yeah, I agree.